Assalamualaikum everyone, I'm Areej Tahir and today I'll be talking to you guys about a very important problem when it comes to any competitive exam, which is how to manage stress and what is the right routine to follow. Okay, because the popular idea is कि आप ज़मीन आसमान एक कर दें, you have like no life. You are not supposed to have a life because, of course, if you're watching a show and you're preparing for an exam, that means that you're not taking it seriously. To some extent, that is true because if you're going to binge watch a show the entire night, then you'll be too tired to study. ठीक है, मेहनत करनी भी लाज़मी है. इस सारी बात का मतलब नहीं है कि हमने मेहनत नहीं करनी, ठीक है? But there is a way to go about it. I realized this when my brother complained to me about the stress that he was feeling. He said he's at a point where he does not want to see his books, which is something I faced as well. And then turns out that a lot of people did. ठीक है, बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स होते हैं इसके अंदर. घर का प्रेशर होता है कि यू नीड टू गेट अ सर्टेन ग्रेड, यू नीड टू गेट अ सर्टेन स्कोर, एंड देन आप खुद भी एम्बिशियस होते हैं दैट आई वांट टू गेट इनटू दैट यूनिवर्सिटी नो मैटर व्हाट हैपेंस, एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट इज वेरी फेयर. ठीक है, एंड इट्स वेरी कॉमन, सो यू डोंट हैव टू ब्लेम योरसेल्फ फॉर फीलिंग स्ट्रेस्ड. ठीक है, बट द थिंग इज कि इस स्ट्रेस से आपने इस स्ट्रेस को खुद से मैनेज करना है. नो वन इज गोना कम एंड डू इट फॉर यू. ठीक है, so there's a very simple routine that I think is simple and it worked for me. Especially I learned this from my mistakes in MCAT and I applied this in NET and it worked out. It worked wonders for me. सबसे पहली चीज़ क्या होती है कि you need to research really well about the exam that you're preparing for. ठीक है, for instance, जब मैं O-levels के exams prepare कर रही थी तो I made sure that I knew about the syllabus के components. That is where I started from. ठीक है, इस तरह से ही जब मैं NET की तैयारी कर रही थी, ठीक है, I made sure that I knew exactly कौन से subjects हैं, कौन सी चीज़ें हैं. ठीक है, होली आपको सारी बातें पता चल जाएंगी. देन इससे आपको ये पता चल जाएगा कि आपने कहाँ से कितनी तैयारी करनी है. ठीक है, आपको एक दफ़ा आपने सारा मैनेज कर लिया, सारा सिलेबस निकाल लिया, पढ़ना है. अब बारी आगे कि पढ़ना कैसे है. ठीक है, पढ़ने के लिए सबसे पहले आपने क्या करना है, यू नीड टू हैव अ सेट रूटीन. You're not going to deviate from it for a time. ठीक है, of course if you're preparing for something पूरा साल, तो there's obviously that element that you can go back and forth. But if you have like 3 months or 2 months, anything can be done if you do it with discipline. Discipline is so important because you need to make sure कि अगर आपने सोचा है कि आपने 3 घंटे पढ़ाई को देने हैं, तो वो 3 घंटे वहाँ पे होने चाहिए. ठीक है, बिकॉज मसला ये होता है कि इफ़ यू स्किप one day, the next day you're going to be overcompensating for it. And if you're going to spend 6 hours one day, then you're going to be tired for the next day and the cycle just keeps on going. ठीक है, सबसे पहले आपने क्या करना है, you need to have a set routine. Now that set routine does not mean that you're pulling all-nighters all the time. Not at all. ठीक है, especially when you're close to exams. Please avoid all-nighters when it comes to that. I personally do that, so it's a little hypocritical coming from me. ठीक है, but रात की नींद बहुत लाज़मी है. ठीक है, so you need to have a good rest. ठीक है, maybe it works better for you to study at night. ठीक है, but the point is to have rest, and you need to rest. For instance, if you've studied for like 3-4 hours straight, take a nap. Make sure that your mind is getting the time to recharge itself. सेकेंडली पे हमारे पास आ जाता है कि हमने डिस्ट्रैक्शंस जब पढ़ रहे हैं, there should be no distraction. We all know that we're going to be very distracted by the phone that we use. That is why you just put that away. ठीक है, and then you give yourself time. For instance, give yourself, okay, I'm going to study for 45 minutes, and then for 15 minutes I'm going to scroll, for 15 minutes I'm going to listen to music, for 15 minutes I'm going to do something. And give yourself breaks. It's not that you need to study 4 hours straight, but उस 4 hours के अंदर 15 minutes breaks दे लेते हैं आपको. ठीक है, इससे क्या होता है कि you want to do it again. You want to come back to it. You feel a little relaxed, overwhelmed नहीं होना. ठीक है, especially when you start feeling overwhelmed, take a step back, breathe, and then come back to it. ठीक है, आपको जब बहुत ज़्यादा टेंशन हो रही होती है, mostly I personally, this is like personal opinion, when I feel very overwhelmed is when I cannot manage. I feel like कि मुझे आता ही नहीं है, कोई भी चीज़ नहीं आती है. ठीक है, तो इसके टाइम पे मैं क्या करती हूँ, I go and research again. I go and read and watch people who have done stuff. It helps me humanize the experience. आपको ये नहीं लगता कि दिस इज समथिंग आउट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. ठीक है, इसके बाद क्या आता है कि आपने जो ब्रेक्स लेनी है, आपने ब्रेक्स लेनी है एग्जाम के दरमियान, पढ़ाई के दरमियान, ठीक है. उसके बाद जैसे से आपने 4 hours डेडिकेट किए हुए हैं, 5 hours डेडिकेट किए हुए हैं, उसके बाद वेन एवर यू डूइंग एनी थिंग, जस्ट डोंट थिंक अबाउट इट राइट नाउ, जस्ट रिलैक्स. वॉचिंग अ शो, watch the show. Listening to music, listen to music. Spending time with family, do it. But you need to, like, disassociate yourself from that experience for a while so that you don't feel overwhelmed all the time. Because then your mind, because if at the back, obviously at the back of your head, the problem, or not the problem, but the tension is going to be there. Okay, but if you're going to be thinking about it all the time, then you're going to be mentally drained. ठीक है, और आपके जो first few months है, let's just say first few weeks है, you're studying, you're practicing, you're revising and everything, go with it. But when it comes to the last week, make sure you are more rested than you were before. Okay, and don't start studying at the 11th hour, because then that's like a death wish. You're just going to be like, अपनी जान के ऊपर ज़रूर कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, अपने एंड के ऊपर, एंड का जो टाइम होगा लास्ट वीक स्पेशली, जस्ट रिवाइजिंग, go through the concepts again, go through the things that you have solved so that you remember what you've done, ताकि completely भी भूल ना जाए, because sometimes that happens as well. Okay, but make sure that you are not studying in that week. ठीक है, because लास्ट मिनट की पढ़ी हुई, एटलीस्ट पर्सनली what happens is कि अगर मैं एक चीज़ लास्ट मिनट पे पढ़ी है, मुझे वो लास्ट मिनट पे ही याद रहती है. खैर, उसके अलावा you also need to know that it's okay. Whatever happens, it will be fine. You will get into a good university, you will get good grades, and you will be fine. Okay, that's it for today. Love us.